Welcome to our Amud Yomi Shiur. Everybody here in Avos Shalom and everybody in the YouTube channel Torah Anytime in Kol Lashon. We are in Bava Metzia, about to start another amazing Amud Gemor in Bava Metzia. Today's Amud is Kuf Zayin Amud Aleph, but right now we are still in the Mishnah in the bottom of Kuf Vav Amud Beis. You can see me better now. So now the Mishnah, before we start the Mishnah, I'll just give a small introduction. We said many times that when a person receives a field in order to work the field, in order to till the earth, and the field belongs to someone else, and he is there in some kind of agreement, either he's supposed to give a fixed amount every year, or he's supposed to give a percentage, right? So usually the understanding was throughout the sugyas that if he is asked to, let's say, plant, to sow, to do a wheat, he shouldn't do barley, right? That was always the assumption. Apparently, the Mishnah is going to tell us now that there are exceptions to the rule. Sometimes he can ask to plant X, and he can plant Y, and it's still okay. Why? Let's see. Says the Mishnah. A person accepted the field from his friend. Now we always have to ask ourselves: are we talking here about a choichel or an oris? Is this a person who gives you a fixed amount every year, or is this a person who gives you a percentage? Soon we're going to see who this guy is. The original agreement was, please plant in there, please sow the seeds of barley. He's not allowed to be zoreah chitim. He should not sow the seeds of the wheat. Why is that? Well, one would say, well, it's not what you're asked to do. But apparently there's another reason. Chita sucks the energy more than soira. The chita is more expensive, but the chita is something that sucks the earth. Yeah, gets you it's better produce, but it destroys, it depletes the earth more quickly. So therefore, if you're asked to do barley, don't do wheat. Chitim, but if you're asked to do chitim, which is wheat, Israel soirim, yes, you're allowed to plant their soirim. Why? Because the soirim are better for the ground. The barley, although it's worth less, it is something that helps the ground even more. Now, of course, now let's pause right here and ask a question. What do you mean? Right? In other words, what do you mean? It's true that the ground is less depleted, but you get less, right? At the end of the day, soirim are worth less. Says Rashi and Chinami. Says Rashi, if the case was of an oris, a kablan, then you'd be right, because the kablan says, I want percentage of what? Better wheat, better produce, more expensive, more worthy, more valuable, right? I want the better half of the deal, and therefore I prefer chitim. The ground is less depleted. We said already a few sugyas ago, a person prefers to have cash now rather than to worry about the land being healthier and fresher in next years. I prefer that the land is kochush, and me and my family will not be starving in kochush, right? We said that before. So what's the story over here? Here we're talking about a chochir. A chochir has to give a set amount of what? Of money. Which means you have to give me what? I don't care what. Give me chitim, give me soirim, give me tomatoes, or give me cash. In other words, I just want to get X amount of value, right? I don't care if it's chitim or soirim, it's at the value. I will always get the worth, the value of 100,000 shekels, $100,000. If so, mitzad what me and my family will eat, says the Balabite, we'll always get the same. So now what do I care about? The ground. If you sow in the ground something that depletes the ground quicker, something that takes away the energy from the ground, you're causing a loss. So if I ask you to sow seoirim, don't sow chitim, because chitim, what about them? They deplete the ground. They suck up the energy from the ground more, and that's a loss for me. Get it? That's the idea. That's according to Rashi. Other Rishonim choilek. There's a machlokes Rishonim. I'm not following all the Rishonim here. We're now learning Rashi. That's the first opinion. Rab Shimon Gamliel oiser. Rab Shimon Gamliel says osir. The way we understand now, Rashbag says, if you said chitim, do chitim. You said soirim, do soirim. Do as you were told. Do as you promised, without playing games and shtick. I don't care about the ground being depleted or not. We said X, do X. That's what Rashbag believes. In the Havamina, that's what we think at least. Now, second case in the Mishnah, Tvua. The person, the chochir, was asked to to sow their tvua, any kind of cereal, chita, soil, rye, barley, all those, yeah. Lo yizrein kitnis. Do not sow in there kitnis, legumes, yeah. Don't put in there, I don't know, beans, bebalach for the cholent. Don't do those. Why? Same idea, because the kitnis is something that sucks up the energy more. Yeah, the tvua is nicer, more gentle, doesn't take so much energy. Kitnis takes more energy, so you're destroying my ground. You're causing it to be, you're tiring it quicker. The shenk and kitnis is a tvua. If the agreement was that what you're going to have kitnis in there, and you changed your mind, you, Mr. Chochir, and now you planted there tvua, better. Why? Now get it better. Tvua, Givaldik, very good. The tvua is more gentle with the ground. It's nice and small and gentle, doesn't take so much energy from the ground. Mitzad, my loss, I have no loss, says the Baal Abais. I'm good with whatever you do. I want my 100,000 shekels worth of what? Of tvua, of produce. For me, just a way to translate that into money. I'm not losing. And therefore, in that case, the Baal Abais should not complain if there was a change. The ground is doing better. The money is the same money. Yendikt. However, the Rashbag says, no, it's always usher to change from your word, even if it shouldn't make any difference to Baal Abais, could be even better for Baal Abais. Yeah, ever gone to the car rental and originally, you know, they told you, no, we're going to give you in the picture in the website, they have a picture of what? Some very, very nondescript Toyota. All of a sudden, wow, they give you a fancy new shiny BMW. That never happened to me. But something nice and big for the same price, same insurance, same risk taking. Bakasha, why not? You know, who cares? I did change the words. Alavaisa, change of words all the time. Rashbag, however, does forbid that. Says the Gemara, why is Rashbag so strict about keeping to your word? It shouldn't make any difference to Baal Abais. It would be even better for Baal Abais. And says the Gemara, it says a pasuk in Tzfanya, the Novi Tzfanya, Sheris Israel, those who remain from Klal Israel, lo yasu ava. They should not do any unjust, anything that's, you know, that's injustice should not be done. V'lo yidabu kozov. They should not say any lies. V'lo yimotze b'fiyem loshon talmis. In their mouth, any word of talmis, of false, of forgery, of bogus, should not be found. Which means the pasuk is very strict. Not only you shouldn't lie when it makes a difference to the other person, don't even say any lie, even though it doesn't make a difference to other people. In other words, Tzfanya is against what we call white lies. You're not allowed to lie white lies according to that. It does make a difference to the other guy. So what? To change from your word is bad. And that's what Rashbag believes. Rashbag said true. The Baal Abais should not care if you changed from chitim to soirim. Could be even better. Maybe, yeah. But Lamaisa, at the end of the day, no. You said X, you do X. Regardless of the consequences on the context, you just don't lie, don't even do anything that's similar to lying. That's what Rashbag believes, or so we think right now, following, interpreting the pasuk in Tzfanya that way. Mesivi. Now we come and we ask a question from a Gemara that appeared a few dapim ago. Purim, now it's Erev, Rosh Hashanah, Kippurim, yeah. But eventually we're going to have this year 2 Purim, Shana Muberes. What's going to be on Purim? What are one of the 4 mitzvahs you do on Purim? The mitzvah of Matanos Levyoinim. And the idea of Matanos Levyoinim, I give tzedakah all the time. What's special about Matanos Levyoinim? Matanos Levyoinim is something you give so the anim have what to eat, right? All the ads of Kupa Shel Tzedakah, all the campaigns. Yeah, give Matanos Levyoinim so the anim have what to eat on Purim. Oh, very nice. That's the idea. When you give the special, you know, in the special envelope of the kupa, you put it in the Matanos Levyoinim. The idea is they should have a nice Purim Suda, misken the whole year round. He doesn't have what to eat. At least Purim should have a nice Purim. Oh, very nice. Question regarding what we just said, and soon you'll see how it's connected to our sugya. We challenge now what we just said about never changing from your word, even if it doesn't make a difference to the other person, to the other party. Magbis Purim lePurim. Magbis Purim lePurim, that's what I just told you. Magbis Purim lePurim, if the Gaboy Tzedakah collect for Purim, the Gaboyim should really give it to the Oni, yeah, for the purpose of Sudas Purim. Knock on the door. Hey, Mr. Oni, Mrs. Oni, here's, wow, beautiful money, a few thousand shekels that have never seen so much money in their lives. And Baruch Hashem, now they can eat Sudas Purim with it, and seemingly not anything else. But The en medakdikin badovo. What does it mean en medakdikin badovo? We don't count pennies. We don't pinch the pennies, which means many times the oni, yeah, let's say there's a town with a few anim, a lot of rich people. Every rich person gives $2,000 for what? For the Sudas Purim. The oni, for him, it's enough to have a regular meal. For him to have a nice piece of chicken, for him and the children, a few potatoes, and a dessert, that's very nice. That Purim Suda, let's say, costs 500 shekels, let's say, and the oni got not 500 shekels, he got 2,000 shekels. So we still say en medakdikin badovo. We don't say separate gaboim. We're still in the tzedakah office, in the office of the tzedakah committee. We don't say no, don't give anymore. En medakdikin, fargan to the oni to have a nice suda. Don't say the 500 shekels would go to the oni and the other 1,500 should go for something else, for a different purpose, to fix the shul, to build a new shul. No, you give all 2,000 shekels to the oni. So the oni, be nice to him. Don't be such a kamtan with the oni. So instead of chicken and this, he's going to have what? He's going to have veal steak, nice steak, and I don't know, for first course sushi, and I don't know, at the end, fancy cake, 5 layers cake. Give him fargan and medakdikin. So far, so good. However, the oni very, very likely will tell you, I'm so sorry. It's really nice of you people. You people are really so nice. I can definitely do with 500 shekels meal. And I don't know if you noticed, but I don't have shoes. I don't mean I don't have designer shoes from friends. I mean, I don't have shoes. So therefore, it's a little bit more urgent for me, to use, for me would make more sense, 500 shekels to use for my Purim expenses, for the Suda, even a nice Queen Esther custom for my daughter, all very nice. The other 1,500, I want to buy shoes for myself and my family. That's already a question. On one hand, well, the oni needs it. Of course he can use it. It's not so simple because the people who gave the tzedakah, they gave the tzedakah with the purpose of the meal. So it's a little bit of a conundrum over here. Says opinion number 1, it's going to be machlokes. The oni is not allowed to take from that money. He's not allowed to buy a new strap for his sandal. In other words, to change from Purim to a different purpose, more urgent in his eyes. Unless he made a specific t'nai, he made a condition, he actually declared in front of Ansha Ir, a committee representing the people of town, the Kupa Shel Tzedakah, the Rabbanim, whatever. So he's not allowed to change unless it's verbally agreed and we're all open and transparent. He says, listen, he gave me tzedakah money, he's talking to the Kupa Shel Tzedakah people, you should be aware, if it's okay with you, I'm going to change it for another purpose, and I assume they would say it's okay, right? Okay. But he does have to come clean with them and tell them about it. This is the opinion of Rabbi Yaakov quoting Rabbi Meir, that what? The oni is not allowed to change from X to Y, from Purim to another purpose. I want to point out, the Tosfos says in a different place that, I remember that, Tosfos says, usually one can change from one tzedakah to the other. This is not halacha shiur, but in general, if somebody gives you tzedakah, or let's say you set aside tzedakah to give, I don't know, kids with cancer, then comes a relative that really, really needs it, is going to starve, you can change from the cancer, children cancer, to give it to another thing, generally speaking. Here, it's more of a problem, because Mois Purim is a special tzedakah. It's not general tzedakah. It's prescribed by halacha. You have to give Mois Purim for Purim. It's a little bit more tricky, and that's what people want. So you can't just change it. The oni, if you want to change it for another purpose, should come clean and let us know about it. That's the first opinion. However, Reb Shimon Gamliel, who is now the opinion we just quoted, Reb Shimon Gamliel is actually now surprising us, and he's saying Mekel, he's lenient with who? With the oni. Rashbag says no. The oni doesn't have to tell anybody what he does with the money. Why? Because for the rich guy or the regular guy who gave tzedakah, it doesn't really make a difference. Yeah, he gave the tzedakah for what? For Purim. The oni says, thank you, I accept it as Purim money, so be'etzem I have what to eat, thank you, good. Now, I'm changing it, post factum, I'm changing it now, and instead of buying a fancy piece of steak, I'm buying shoes. It shouldn't really matter to you. In other words, that's kilu, yes, a white lie. The other person thinks that he's using it for Purim, but if the person knew that he's using it for his new shoes, it shouldn't make a difference to him. And here, Reb Shimon Gamliel is Mekel. So you're the one who told me Reb Shimon Gamliel is what? Is Rabbi Truth. He's the one who says never, ever, ever change or lie or do or change any condition. even though it doesn't make a difference. And here it says, yes, you can. Here, when it comes to the Oni, it says, no problem. The Oni may change from Purim to Shuz without telling the other person because it doesn't make a difference to the other person. So you see, if the other party is not affected, who cares? Then it is okay. So will the real Reb Shimon Gamliel step up, please? Answers the Gemara. And here we have to add the word Ela. I told this to guys in yeshiva. I'm telling this to you, although I think you know it already, your age. Whenever the Gemara says Ela means we are erasing, deleting the previous teretz, and we're saying a new teretz. It should be here, the word Ela. Ela Omar Abai. Abai says now, Abai now gives a whole different, new reason or new reason for who? For Shimon Gamliel. And he says as follows. Time of Rabbi Shimon, you know what's the real reason why Rabbi Shimon said that if a person was told to sow chitim, shouldn't do soirim no chitim, you should always keep to what you were told to do? A whole different reason. It's not because of being super truthful and no white lies. It's not the reason. Nobody says white lies are okay, but it's not the reason over here. Yeah, by the way, they are okay in Purim, maybe here too, but the point is, here it has nothing to do with lying or saying the truth. It's not the point in this Mishnah. Why? So what is the point? So who cares? Says Abai like this. Tamad Rabban Shimon ke demar, like Mar. Who is Mar? Mar is Rabba. Rab, not Rove. Rabba raised who? Abai. Abai was a Yosem, you know. Abai, was orphaned in childhood, and Rabba is the one who brought him up. So he always loved him very much. He called him Mar, the master. He was also his rabbi. The Omar Mar says Rabba. And this is a rule in agriculture. Hai man de nichale the titbur are. Here's the big machlokes Rashi and other Rishonim. Let's start with Rashi. A person who wants his land to be bur. Bur means fallow. A person who wants, it's speaking sarcastically. If you want your field to be unsuccessful, to be bur, like bur v'amoretz, empty, right? Lay flat, fallow. If you want your land not to be successful and nothing's going to grow there, lizre'a, you know what you should do? What should be the unsuccessful way? Lizre'a shata chiti, the shata sa'ari. Then 1 year you should plant it. You should use it for wheat. The other year for barley. Keep changing from year to year. It's not good for the ground, according to Rashi. Many Rishonim argue. We'll get there. I promise. Right now we're following Rashi. Rashi is of the belief that don't keep changing, be conservative and consistent. Shata shti v'shata erev. Let's say 1 year, it's not good to plow it, keep saying plowing and sowing. What? 1 year, one direction, shti, and one direction, one time horizontal, the other time vertical. Don't do that. Yeah, in other words, do the same thing every year, year after year. Yeah, be conservative and consistent, and that way your field will be good. Oh, that explains everything. Says Reb Shimon Gamliel, according to Rabba, it's not about being super truthful. It's a technical thing. Because you, Mr. Oris, in this case, Mr. Chochir, you don't know what was planted there last year. When he told you, I want chitim, and you think, Chocham, no, I want to do se'orim because se'orim are better. No, maybe last year he did what? He did se'orim, and now, maybe he did chitim. Now you do se'orim, it's not going to be good because you're changing from year to year. So you're destroying it for him. You don't realize that. And if you knew what was the story, maybe it would be different. But don't take a risk on the gamble, without knowing what was there last year. You may be changing from last year to this year, and that's not good for the land. And you think you're a big chacham. That's why don't take the risk and just do as you're told. He knows the field. He's been the owner for years. Don't come and barge in as a new guy thinking you know everything. Now, however, there is a qualification to that. We only say that the land is destroyed if actually it's changing from year to year, different produce every year. You know when it's not good for the land. Ella, we only say that the loy kariv vitani, when it did not plow twice. What do you mean to plow twice? Sometimes, and we've seen that already, they would. I wonder what they do today. I'm curious to know. They would plow the field after the harvest, before the new season before the winter. In the summer, when they're done harvesting, they would do like a special, like a cleanup. Remember, it also gets the weeds out. Yeah, they would plow and leave the land nice for a few months, and then again in the winter they'll plow again right before the new planting season. That's in the winter in Cheshvan, right? Oh, so if you do the 2 plowing, then it's okay. Then that's like, that cleans it up. That separates between meat and milk, between the chita of last year and the soyer of this year. And then in a chinami, if you plow again and again, then you can use it for something new. I guess the mixture of the types is not so good for the land. I will call it the tani leislan bo. If en chinami he plowed again after the end of the previous season and plowed again before the new season, no problem. Then you can plant. Now it's been koshered. No, it's like your treifa dish has been to the hagala. Now you can do whatever you want, milk or meat. It's a new one, kilu, born again. Now you can use it for the new type. Many Rishonim argue on Rashi, Toisves, Ravid, and many they argue on Rashi and they say just the opposite. They say just the opposite. No, they say it's very good for the land to be versatile and change. Yeah, 1 year this type, the other year the other type. However, so what does it say Titba? It say your land's gonna lay fallow. So Toisves and the Shita says even more. No, we all know, and that's stated in the Gemara a few places, and I know even Goysha farmers, they know that if you plant, you use the field, you use the power of the field, it's good to let it rest, every other year, or it's good to let the land rest. Now the Chokhmah is, the Gemara says, when you leave it fallow and empty for a year, you're losing. You're gaining that it's resting, but you're losing, you don't have produce that year. So the Gemara says, how can you hold the stick on both ends? How can you have the cake and eat it? In other words, how can you have the effect of ground that feels fresh and not too tired? On the other hand, that same ground is still yielding stuff for you. That is, if you alternate and you do chita 1 year, soyer the other year. The land is not too tired because of the change of the types. That's good for it. On the other hand, it keeps working. Yeah. Instead of resting on Sunday, let's say for a goy to rest on Sunday, it's good to rest on Sunday for him maybe, although halachically it's not so simple. On the other end, he's losing work. So on Sunday, do a different kind of work. You have a change of scenery. That's what we're telling the land here to do. And therefore, according to Tosfos, everything's the other way around. Don't plow, don't sow the seeds of the barley, because maybe last year there was barley. You should not repeat the same thing twice, but the same concept. Yes? Oh. Before we continue, I want to refer to something that Ellen said. Again, if the Balabai says, listen, I don't care, whatever you grow there is good for me. Chitim, papaya, avocado, kiwi, starfruit. I work in my high-tech office in Ranana. I don't care what this field does as long as I get 100,000 a year. Of course, there's no chiddush. Do whatever you want. Depleted, shmepleted. I don't understand anything about agriculture. I have this field. I yarshened it from my zayde. Of course. On the other extreme, if he says, comes to in the lawyer's office, and says, I make it tonight, b'nei Gadu, b'nei Ruven. Yeah, like we said in Daf Tzadidalid. If you play, I only give it to you in condition that you only grow wheat, and wheat only, wheat, and nothing but the wheat. Of course, you can't change to barley, obviously. Our story is, as always, when it's not so clear, it's somewhere in the middle. The verbally spoke about growing wheat. That was the understood agreement, yeah? So even then, you may change that. Why? Because if the agreement was, the guy came to him, the Balabai says, I have this field, I'm not going to work the field, I'm now going to learn in Koilo the whole day, Baruch Hashem, Elul, and now what? I'm going to let you work the field. All I care about is $100,000 a year. That's what I want to get from the field. And, plant wheat there. He didn't make it tonight. He mentioned wheat, and the guy says, okay, wheat. There it's not committal. No. Here says the Mishnah, no. If instead of wheat he puts barley, it shouldn't make a difference. Barley is as good, if not even better. In other words, just like if you choose the car in the car rental, and it's a black Toyota, and then it's a white Mazda, but exactly the same, same seat, same thing, same quality, you shouldn't care. That's the idea. It could be even better. It's even a bit of an upgrade because it's even better for the ground. Yeah, that's the idea. Okay. The Seder. Weiter. We said in the Mishnah, again, there are different versions here, different Rishonim. The version we have is that if he was asked to plant tvua, to grow tvua, again, tvua is a general name for wheat or barley, rye, etc., buckwheat and all that. That is what, not buckwheat actually could be different, yeah, one of those. Then we say that you have, those things are nicer and more gentle with the ground rather than, although there's a difference between wheat and barley, but all of them comparing to kidneys are better and nicer, more gentle with the ground. Okay, so if you were not commanded, if you were asked to put tvua there to grow tvua, don't grow kidneys. Don't grow their kidneys, which is something harder like beans. Don't grow beans. Beans are harder. They suck more energy from the ground. Okay. Masni le Rav Yehuda le Rabin. Rav Yehuda taught a Mishnah to Rabin, and what did he teach him? Tvua is reina kidneys. Huh? He says no. If you are asked to grow tvua there, you may grow kidneys instead. Omerle, excuse me. Vanantnan tvua lo is reina kidneys. Our Mishnah says just the opposite. If you are asked to plow and grow tvua, only tvua should be there, not kidneys. Kidneys sucks the energy more. Kidneys is more aggressive with the ground. So how can you do that? In any event, you're against the Mishnah. How can you teach me the other way around? Omerle lo kasha, calm down. Everything is good. Everything is reconciled. Olan veholehu. This is for them and this is for us, which means there's a big yesod, which I told you many, many times. This yesod appears in Gittin at the beginning, and this yesod appears in the Mishnah in Shabbos Daf and Gimel Amud Beis. What does it say? The Mishnah was taught for Bnei Eretz Yisrael. The Mishnah's language, the Mishnah agricultural norms, everything in the Mishnah is about Eretz Yisrael. Mishnah was written with the atmosphere and the feel and the ambience of Eretz Yisrael. Okay? And therefore, Eretz Yisrael, we also see that in other places, the ground in Eretz Yisrael was actually a little bit more difficult to work with than the one of Bavel in certain aspects. Eretz Yisrael is more mountainous and hilly and harder, the ground, in certain areas in Eretz Yisrael. Bavel was very fertile land. What's Bavel? Iraq. What's in Iraq? It's all rivers. The Euphrates, right? You have the rivers over there, right? And therefore the Tigris. So now the lush ground of Bavel doesn't make a difference. In Eretz Yisrael, the Mishnah spoke in Eretz Yisrael, and the Mishnah Eretz Yisrael tells us, listen, we have ground that's a bit difficult to deal with, and therefore, if you are asked to plant something nice and gentle like wheat and barley, don't plant something harsher such as the bebalach, because they take out more energy, and as it is, they take not just energy, they take out nutrients and water. Eretz Yisrael needs water. The ground is hard. In Bavel, there's plenty water. There's enough water as it is. It doesn't make a difference at all if you plow and if you plant and if you grow what? Anything you want. Doesn't make a difference. Why? Because at the end of the day, actually, the ground is so fat and so fertile and so wet and moist, nothing's going to hurt it, yeah? If you plow and if you grow there instead of wheat and barley, you're going to grow the bebalach, won't make any difference. I saw something fascinating today. In this morning, I saw the Shita Mekubetzes of Shem the Ravid. He says, no. He says, he takes it one step further. He says even more. He says the ground in Bavel is so fat that it's good for the ground of Bavel to take out more energy and make it a bit leaner. The ground should go on a diet in Bavel. And that's why the kidneys that takes out the nutrients and the water is actually good for the ground. Yeah, it shouldn't be too fat. That's why there it's the other way around. Nafkamina between Rashi and the Ravid, right? According to Rashi, do what you want. According to the Ravid, it's actually better to have the kidneys and not have the wheat and barley, the grains of cereals. Okay, quick. Yeah. I just want to point out very nice comments today. Of course, Eretz Yisrael is better than other lands in the sense that you need Hashem more. As the pasuk says, "Limtar Hashemayim tishtemayim." The eyes of Hashem are in Eretz Yisrael from the beginning of the year till the end of the year. Yeah, it's supposed to quote to the Gemara in Rosh Hashanah, to sign or something. What's the point? Eretz Yisrael is better if you behave nicely. You have to know how to treat the land. You have to know how to daven. Then you get better fruit. B'shenken in Chutz La'aretz, it's all automatic. Automatic pilot in Egypt, in Iraq, they have from the river. Now, we are going now to see all kinds of different statements that seemingly have nothing to do with our sugya, except for the people who are the protagonists, the people who actually mention, the people who cite those halachas are the same people, and it's always Rav Yehuda talking to Rabbi Bar Rav Nachman. Because he's the one that just spoke now about the kidneys and the tvua, we're going to quote other statements made by Rav Yehuda to Rabbi Bar Nachman. And he always starts by calling him my brother. Rabbi Achi, Rabbi my brother. Hani tachli debei kitna. Now this sugya deals with a kind of leafy vegetable. It's called shachalaim. It's called shachalaim because it's shaped like an ovary of a woman, and it has tangy flavor. I don't know what it's called in English. It has like tangy, nice flavor that some people like to eat, and it tends to grow in cotton fields. The question is if it's pishtan or kitna, either cotton or pishtan, which is flax, and it grows there, and it's a bit of a parasite. Yeah, it's a good, it's nice, it's a nice herb, but the lemaise it takes away from the energy of the more expensive produce of the cotton or the pishtan. Sahani tachli de kitna. You have those shachalaim, they grow amongst the kitna, amongst the stalks of the pishtan of the flax, and ben mishum gezel. If you come to your friend's field and he has the pishtan growing, and amongst them he has those little parasites which are nice and tasty to eat, you're allowed to take them. Why? Why isn't it gezel? I'll tell you why. Says Rashi, because it's not worth it for him to keep it. In other words, it's true that they're worth something, those little shmonzalach over there, but lemaisa, they take from the energy of the good product of what? Of the pishtan. It's not worth it for him. They destroy, because of like parasites, they take away from the nutrients instead of the real important produce of the pishtan. So if you take it away from him, you're not stealing, maybe even helping him. Take it. Nobody cares about it. It doesn't help him that they're there. The pishtan grower is not gaining anything from their being there, because their loss of taking from the energy of the pishtan is more than the gain of the actual value of them, of the shachlaim. Now, on this gvulin, let's say all those shachlaim are not amidst the pishtan, they're not within them, but they are standing by the border. They're standing by the borders, they grow by the border of the field. Yesh ben mishum gezel, then it's gezela. Why? Because when they're standing by the side, then they're considered as what? Yesh ben mishum gezel. Why is that gezel? Because they're not taking from the energy. They're by the side. They're separate. So they're not taking so much from the middle. And then the balabais would say, no, I want both. They both belong to me. The pishtan in the middle, and those are standing by their side, they're not really taking away significantly from the main thing. I want them both. Get away. Get out of here. By the way, Choices points that we learned in Bava that you are allowed to go to your friend's field. That Yehoshua made the takana that people shouldn't be stingy with each other, and they can actually collect asovim, weeds, from one field. Yeah, you're allowed to go to your friend's field and collect weeds, one from the other. Says Toises, that is only when we talk about weeds for behema, they're not for human consumption. But if it's for human consumption, you have to ask permission, unless you know it's a parasite and it's not good for him. Now continues the memre, the im hukshu lezera. Let's say now they're fully grown. Up until now, we spoke about the shachlaim. They're not fully grown, so not worth so much. Now they're fully grown, and they're so grown up that they already produce their own zera. They reach maturity. They produce their own seeds, and with those seeds, you can actually plant a whole plantation of those. Oh, now everything changes. Afilu de bekitna nami yesh ben mishum gezel. Even if they're standing in the middle of the cotton field, of the pishtan field, still it's considered as gzela. Why? My time. Why? We just said that the parasites are not worth anything, or they're worth much less, that the damage, the value is less than the damage. So, the afsid. What he lost, he already lost. What does that mean? When they're in the middle of growing up, they're only bad. Why? Mitzad their value, they're not grown up yet. So they're worth very little just to eat, not worth as a industrial thing. They can't produce others roim, right? And mitzad sucking, they're still growing, they're still sucking energy. Yeah, it's like, not nice to say, a child at home, which we love very much, mitzad expenses, he's not producing, he's only eating, he's only an expense, right? Once that shachlaim grows up, now you're taking it? Good morning. No. Once the shachlaim is grown up, mitzad the value of the shachlaim, it's already good enough and valuable enough, because I can take it and grow and plant others. And mitzad taking the energy, it's not taking the energy so much anymore because it's already grown up. Now you're taking it, hands off. No, now it's worth it. I waited all this time, says Balabais. That's not the time to take it from me, and therefore it's considered as gazela. Weiter, yeah. Omerle, good. Next statement of the same heilige people. Omer Rav Yehuda leRabin bar Rav Nachman. He's again approaching him in a friendly way. Rabin Achi, Rabin my brother. Now we're going to talk about a tree that grows happens many times, even in Ramad Bet Shemesh. I have neighbors like that. Yeah, a tree grows in one field or one garden, and the branches are like, how do you say, tilted? Yeah, hanging over the other garden. That happens a lot. So the people in the other garden, and they're allowed to eat from the. So now let's see what we say here. Rabin, my brother, yeah, Ahani dili dilach, the dilach dili. Sometimes what's mine belongs to you, what's yours belongs to me. What does it mean? According to Rashi, we're not talking here about branches, actually. Most Rishonim argue. I'm now following Rashi. Today is Rashi day. Yeah, I'll tell you afterwards, the Rishonim and the Shulchan Aruch, we're following Rashi now. Says Rashi, let's say I have a tree that grows by the border, right near the border between two fields, but the trunk is in Reuven's field, and somehow, because of funny conditions, all the roots are going one direction. Maybe there's a wall next to it or something. I don't know. It happened. I don't care. All the roots are all mamish sucking from the ground of the other guy. So the trunk is by Reuven, and somehow, because of some funny shape, because of I don't know what, yeah, let's say there's a wall behind it, it doesn't allow them to grow. I don't know why, it doesn't matter. But somehow all the roots, they only are spreading out and taking the energy from Shimon's field, although the tree is located in Reuven's field. So now, one second, please. So it says, therefore, what's mine is really yours. Yours is mine, which means because all the roots are actually located in the neighbor's field, so all the fruit belong to the neighbor. That's what he wants to say, as we're going to see later. That's according to one opinion, and that's the opinion he follows. Yeah. By the way, there's another pshat here that says he calls him brother all the time. He says, between us, we don't care. Between us, if we had a tree amongst us, mine is yours, yours is mine, would be very friendly with each other. One second. But nog bnei matzra, the halacha, people who do care, Reuven and Shimon are very, very possessive about their fruit. So what's bnei matzra? People living by the same border, the two sides of the Metzia of the border. Ilan hanoite lekan lekan. There is a tree that's noit. According to Rashi, it's not branches. Confusing. Noite means all the branches are tilted, are spreading to one direction. Lekan. So the guy whose roots are in his field, he's going to get all the fruit, which makes sense. He would say, "Excuse me, I know that the trunk is by you, but all the roots are really eating up my place, so I should get all the fruit." Lekan, and so is the other direction, the itmar, as we're going to see the machloikis, a tree that stands right next to the border. Omar Rav is the one that we support now halachically. Says Rav, whichever way the roots go, this is the real owner of the tree regarding getting the fruit and eating the delicious fruit is the one whose roots are in his field, taking from his energy. Okay, give me a second. Shmuel argues with Rav. Cholkin, no, the split. Why? The trunk is by me, and I originally bought the tree. I planted the tree. It's in my field, and the trunk is here. So even though all the energy is sucking up your area, and all the roots are for you, we should still spread it. Not, we should split it. Split the fruit half. That's Machlokes Rav Shmuel. Yes. You could continue, or you have a point? Now, Meisivi. Now we're going to challenge Rav. Says the Brisa, and Rav and Shmuel both have to agree with the Brisa. Outright, it says an ilan, a tree that stands by the border, they should split the trees. They should split the fruit. Yeah. In other words, again, according to Rashi's understanding, it's by the border and all the roots go one direction. That's Rashi's understanding. They should split. That's exactly Tuvta de Rav. That's exactly following Shmuel and exactly against Rav, the challenging Rav. Tirgam Shmuel eliba de Rav. Look how noble of Shmuel. Shmuel, the opponent, explains the Brisa to fit Rav's opinion. Yeah, happens a lot in the Gemara. This tree fills up the entire area of the Metzia, which according to Rashi is very easy. Really, this is not the case of all the roots going one direction. The roots are spread evenly on both sides. Very nice. It's a tree that's bang, boom, on the Metzia, on the border. Everything is equal. And I don't know, 50% of the roots one way, 50% to Shimon. And therefore they split the fruit. That's too good. That's Sesame Street. What's the Chiddush? If so, what's the Chiddush? Of course, if we know that it's so nice and symmetric, like a nice children's book, 50% here, 50% there, they get 50% of what? Of the fruit eat. Obviously, everybody knows that. Loi, tzricha, there is a Chiddush, answers the Gemara. The tali tune lechad gisa. When it comes to the branches, finally, even according to Rashi, we're now referring to the branches. One branches could be because of the sun or the weather. One side of the tree, let's say Beruven, yields much more fruit than the other one, and still they split it. That's a chiddush. Although physically, when you look at the top, the tree top, the tzameres, the fruit actually there are many more fruit on one side than the other. We look down at the roots and we say, since by the roots there are commonly shared 50-50, therefore, you split them into two, and whatever grows by Reuven, half of it will go to Shimon, because really the roots is what makes a difference. Frag the Gemara, V'akat is still Ma'ila Memra. What's the Chiddush? The Gemara believes so much that what matters is what? The branches, the roots, because that's what really gives the energy. So who cares that one guy is more lucky to have more fruit by him? Of course he should split it. Answers the Gemara, Ma'adetema. One would have thought to be tricky. The Omer Lei, Floig Hachi. You know what? Says Reuven to Shimon, I am splitting half-half. I get the nicer half. In other words, no, there is a Havamina. In other words, we're splitting as what? Splitting the tree half-half. This way, let's say Reuven is to the east and Shimon is to the west. We split east and west, we bought a cake together, half-half, I'll get the one with the gem, you without. It's not a funny havamina because maybe it's a geographical halukah. In other words, it's not about money. Whatever is my side, it's in my side at the end of the day. Answers the Gemara, Kamash Malano, the Omer Lei, Shimon, who's not so lucky, can tell Reuven, the lucky guy, my choz is the polgasachi, why splitting this way, split that way? I agree with you that the split has to be geographical, but it has to be, if your side is to the east and I'm to the west, let's split it north and south. So we both get, right? So it's still fair chalukah, but my way. In other words, I will get half of the good and the not good. You'll get half good and half of the not good, and that's the halacha. Halacha lemaisa, I saw Shulchan Aruch today, and lemaisa, most Rishonim argue with Rashi. They claim that the issue is about the branches. The issue is about the branches, and really, if branches are tilted one direction, Havamina would be that the branches are hanging over his area would get it, especially if it's half-half. Kamash Malan, no. Halacha l'maisa, so two places in Shulchan Aruch, we follow the roots. At the end of the day, we follow what the roots are, which means if my roots are in my place and it's hanging over the neighbor, you have a point, Alan. It's true. If it's disturbing him, that's another question. If he disagrees, that's a different sugya. Let's say the mere existence of the tree is okay with. But he claims, listen, it's hanging over my area. Maybe I don't know, chotzer. Maybe the root, the branches are by me. We say no. We follow where the shoroshim are, where the where the roots are. That's what we care about. We care about where the roots are, not where the branches are. Which means enochnami. If according to that you have the trunk in one place and all the roots go the other direction, in theory, then where the roots are would make a difference. Actually, l'choira. That's halacha as far as I know. And here we're paskin like Rav. Some Rishonim said that although it's Rav Shmuel and it's Nezikin, this is one exception to the rule that we follow Rav actually, and we follow where the roots are, and that's what makes a difference. According to definitely what I saw in Shulchan Aruch. Where the roots are is where the tree really is halachically. Maybe I should check again, but that's what I remember from what I saw today. I hope I didn't forget from today to today. Okay, I would continue now. Now we have a little bit of a gadita. Finally, you deserve. You worked so hard. I got it to time. It's not all a gadita. It's combined with good advice for life. Where should you buy your next field? Let's say you want to buy a field and you want to be an agricultural medallion from America, from England, from South Africa. Now you want to do what? You want to buy a field in Eretz Yisrael. Where should you buy the field? Again, The common denominator is the people who speak to each other here. The Helig Amiroim of Yehuda is talking again to Rabin Bar Nachman, and again he addresses him as Rabin Achi, my brother. Lotiz bin Ara the Smicha Lamata. Don't buy a piece of land if you're interested in plowing and growing and cultivating things there. It shouldn't be next to the mata. What's mata? City. Don't buy it when it's too close to town. Don't buy a field that's close to town. Why not? It's very convenient. Why shouldn't I buy it if it's next to my house? I drive, ride the bike 2 minutes and you're there. What's wrong? Omar Rabbi Abo, Omar Avuna, and we saw that in the previous Masechtes. Omar Rav, a person is not allowed to stand and look over the field, of his friend, of his neighbor. In other words, when someone's field is now kamoiseha, the wheat, the barley, the cereal, the quinoa, the rice, whatever that is now fully grown, beautiful, beautiful wheat, and you, the onlooker, you may also be a farmer. And if you're not an angel, in case you're not an angel, you may minge a little bit of jealousy in your heart, and that causes, and you're looking, and it causes what's called ein hara. Ein hara is not old wives' tales. Ein hara is a halachic concept mentioned again and again. If you look at someone's item, that's new fancy car. Even if you're a good guy, you're not conscious of your jealousness or whatever, of your jealousy, but it's there. Looking too much, how fancy, how nice, how good, that's not a healthy thing. So now, b'tzad the onlooker, don't create ein hara. But you, Mr. Field owner, if your field is right next to town and everybody sees it, everyone going back and forth to yeshiva to kolo to work they will see your field all the time. It draws too much attention. Don't draw too much attention. Try and stay a little bit more on the side, hidden, a little bit more low key, low profile. Amy, frag the Gemara, is that so? I'll prove you otherwise. The Gemara now is going to bring a contradiction. Ashkechino Rabbi Abba leTalmid de Rav. Rabbi Abba found the Talmidim of Rav, the students of Rav. Omer lehu, he told them, he told the people of Rav, the students of Rav, my Omer Rav b'hanikroi. How does Rav explain the following psukim in this week's parsha? It says, Baruch ata ba'ir u'baruch ata b'sodeh. You are blessed in the city, you are blessed in the field. Baruch ata b'voecha u'baruch ata b'tzesecha. Welcome, you are blessed when you come. You're blessed when you go. Baruch ata b'tzesecha. So how does he explain those psukim? The Amrulei, and they quoted Rav as saying, Hachi Omar Rav. This is what Rav, that's how Rav interpreted those psukim. Baruch ata ba'ir. What is the blessing of the town? Blessing specifically to the townspeople, to the urban people. Your house should be close to shul. Believe me, it's convenient. It is very convenient. Ma'ariv 9:15, you leave home 9:14, and you're here for Baruch Hu. Your house should be close to shul. No, rentals, true. When you rent a house or sell a house, what do they advertise? Close to shul, right? It's a very convenient thing. It's good, Baruch ata b'sodeh. What does it mean when Hashem tells us if we follow the mitzvahs of Hashem, we should be blessed in the field? Your assets, which back then in agricultural society are the fields, your assets should be close to town. It's not like you're saying, right? And it's Rav here and Rav there. So why isn't Rav concerned about Einhara? Rav sees as the epitome of blessing, as a, whatever the acme blessing is what? Being the field being very close to town. So here's the question, but we continue the brisa and then we'll answer the question. You are blessed when you come. What is that? A person has been away from his wife for a long time. He was on a business trip, a week, 2 weeks, shoichtim, they go to Argentina for months. You've been a long time in a schnorr trip. I don't know, you've been to visit family, you've been away. You've been without your wife, and you're a normal man, flesh and blood. You miss your wife in a physical sense of the word too, which is normal. And now you come home, and she's telling you, she didn't SMS you before, she's telling you, I'm so sorry, I have a shayla, a nida, suffik nida. That's very, very, very annoying. You don't know if you can touch her or no. Because she has a shayla of nida. Now, that is something that shouldn't happen to you. That's a bracha. Whenever you come home, you should find your wife available halachically, so you can do what you do as a husband and a wife. Now, there's a big machlokas here. What does it say, Sofik Nida? And if she's full Nida, she told you, Mama said, the real thing last night, boom. Is that better? That's a machlokas. Between Rashi and Rashi, it's a steer in Rashi, it's a big problem. Rashi over here says, Kol sheken avada Nida. If she's a Sofik Nida, that's bad. If she's a for sure Nida, oh no, you're already planning things, and now oy yeah. So it's a horror is going crazy. So then what? That's bad, even worse. Another pshat in Rashi in different places, and other Rishonim say no. If she's a Vada Nida, you're a frum Jew. No Havamina to Isser Chorus. If she's a Sofik Nida, you tell her, I've been without you for a long time. Don't call the rabbi. It's okay. That's worse. Yeah, there's a chashash chas v'shalom. The person would actually, follows Yetzer Hara when it's a Sofik. Avada, you're not going to do chorus, but Sofik, that's worse. So Hashem blesses you. It shouldn't happen to you as a married man. Oh, tzeisecha doesn't mean when you leave. Tzeisecha means you tzei me'echa k'moischa. What's tzeitza? Descendant, like letzet, yotzeh, the one who came out of you, from you. So the bracha is your children should be like you. B'Torah, b'chochma, b'oisher, b'kavod. Have children following your path. Don't have children off the derech. Have children on your derech. Okay, so that's what Rav says. That's Rav's pshat. And again, we have a problem with Rav. Is it or isn't it good according to Rav to have a field right next to town? Now, the Omerlu, excuse me. Now comes all that was Rabbi Abba talking to the Talmidim of Rav. Now he's responding to them saying, Rabbi Yochanan lo amar hachi. You told me what Rav says. I'll tell you what Rabbi Yochanan told me about this pasuk. A whole different pshat. Ela, he told me the following. Baruch ata ba'ir shebeis hakiseh samach l'shulchanecha. Back then, beis hakiseh was called in English outhouse. Yeah, they were in the field, even worse than an outhouse. That's in the chotzer. The beis hakiseh were not even in town; they were in the field. So if a person has a toilet right next to his house in the chotzer, that's a millionaire. The Gemara says that's an oshir. The Gemara in the Shabbos Chafei. If you have the beis hakiseh right next door, that's great. That's an amazing luxury and commodity. And Rashi gives you a whole explanation. What's very unhealthy to hold back when you need to go. So it's very convenient to have a bathroom right next door. It's not such a good thing to have the shul right next to you. Why? Why? Should I move house? Rabbi Yochanan following his own logic, the Omar, he says, yes, he believes that the schar psios, walking to shul, is a mitzvah of its own. You live in Dolev, you go all the way to Lachish, you get schar for walking. I don't get that. I have like 10 steps, so you have 200 steps. Yeah, so it's better. Yeah. In other words, Rabbi Yochanan says, not such great shakes. I follow Rav, you follow Rabbi Yochanan. Not such a great thing to be next to shul, but being next to toilet, yes, lavdil. What does it mean you should be blessed in the field? Which means you should always don't put all your eggs in one basket. Always have a third of this, third of that, and third of the other, meaning shlish betvua, a third in cereals, shlish bezeisim, a third in olives, v'shlish begefanim, and a third in what? In gefanim, which is grapes. Why these three? First of all, don't place all your bets in one thing. Don't have all the eggs in one basket, because maybe this year all the grapes will go bad. So have your investment also in olives. Maybe all the olives will be bad. Yeah, have a bit of this and a bit of that. Why these three? That's my own idea. These three are the only ones, according to most Rishonim, that are chayv b'maiser midoraisa. All the others are not. So maybe you should have something of brocha. You give maiser. Now, listen to this. What does it mean? Welcome and blessed when you come, blessed when you go. When you leave the world, it should be as if you just came into the world. Just like you came into the world, pure neshama, pure baby, with no history, clean slate, without chet, you didn't sin. The person is 1 second old, he didn't sin. So too you should leave the world without any sins. Wow. The Rashash, very controversial. Here's the Rashash. There's the famous Rashash that says that here there's a question about Bala Gilgulim. He says people who believe in Gilgul and Neshama, they have a problem with this Gemara. Because this Gemara tells you when you come into the world, you are sinless. You don't have any history. If you believe in Gilgulim, you carry many other verses from before. That's Rashash saying his statement on that. In any event, we'll continue tomorrow, but the question remains a question. What is Rav about? One time, Rav tells me there's an hora, so we assume have your soda away from town so people don't look. And on the other hand, Rav said, no, it's good to have your soda right next to town, so it's close by. There will be tomorrow, Metzia Hashem. Thank you for being here and listening and participating. Everybody here in Avos Shalom. Thank you to our YouTube subscribers and viewers. Kol Lashon and Torah anytime. Thank you. Have a great day. Atzlocha. May we come to Rosh Hashanah Yom Adin full of Torah and mitzvahs, ma'asim tovim. Thank you and atzlocha to everybody here and at home and by the screen. Atzlocha uvrocha.